Hi everyone, and welcome back to the channel. So, as you can tell from the title and the thumbnail, this is the Quarter Year Crisis book tag, and this was inspired by a video I saw over on Books and Heather's channel, and I'll link that video down below in the description so you can go see it. But I think her video was titled. Trying to find it right now. Or hydrate guys as it's getting warmer. So her video was quarter one reading wrap up, bingo updates, 5-star reads, goal progress, and more. Again, I have linked that down below in the description. But I figured for me, I really like doing book tags, and since I already do the mid-year book freakout book tag, and I do the end of the year freakout book tag, or the end of the year wrap up book tag, I figured to make this one a book tag as well. And I do have the link for where I got the prompts. I have added in 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I have added in 10 extra prompts. 6 prompts just as part of the main prompt list, and then 4 bonus prompts. So, yeah, that's what we're going with right now. And we are just going to get into this. So I will do another one of these for the third quarter, so probably maybe March, April, May, June, July, August. May, June, July, August. What's that? Well, no, that's a third actually. We're doing this in thirds. Whatever. June, February, March. Okay, so this will include like a little bit of April as well, since we're about halfway through April. January, February, March, April, May, June. That makes more sense. July, August, September. So we will do another video like this in September. Maybe like September, October-ish to get like enough of that third quarter stuff in. So probably like early October is when I'll have another video under this book tag up. So stay tuned for that video. And then obviously like June, July is when I'll have the mid-year book freakout tag. And then December-ish is when I'll have like the end of the year one. But I have my mid-year book freakout playlist, and then linked down below in the description. I have like yearly book tag playlist down below in the description as well. So with all that said, let's get into this book tag. Okay, so the way I have it set up is I have all the prompts together, and then the 6 prompts in the main section are the 6 prompts that I added have an asterisk next to them, and then there's a bonus prompt section, which are all ones I added, and then yeah. For the next video I do under this book tag, I'm not going to have the asterisks in the prompts in that section, but just to start off, I wanted to clarify that those are the ones that I had added, just because I'm not going to clarify them when I'm talking about the prompts themselves. So to finally get into this, the first prompt is, how many books have you read so far? And I've read 35 books, which kind of in like the first 3 months plus like 2 weeks-ish is pretty good considering. So yeah, I think I've done a pretty good job with my reading here so far. Let me actually double check story graph actually real quick. Actually never mind, I'm not gonna do that. The next prompt is, have you found a book that you think might be a 2026 favorite? Before I answer this, I know that like doing favorites of the previous year, those kinds of videos are popular. So if you want me to do a 2026 favorites, let me know down below in the comments. If you made it this far, if you want me to do a 2026 favorites at the end of the year, or even a little bit into 2027, let's say we're saying. If you want to see that video, let me know down below in the comments. this, because if it's not something that I get a lot of traction for comment-wise on this video or on any of like my book tag videos, then I'm probably not going to do that video. But anyway, have you found a book that you think might be a 2026 favorite? For me, that would probably be Green Teeth by Molly O'Neill, and I'm actually currently listening to this as an audiobook. But like, I absolutely love it. Like, it's been a while since I've been this invested with a fantasy book. Not that I haven't been invested in the fantasy books that I've been reading. It's just like, there are times and places, there are moments when you're reading a book where it's like, okay, I'm invested, I'm liking this. And then there are other moments where it's like, oh my god, I'm loving this, I'm invested. And that's what I'm feeling for Green Teeth right now. So, absolutely loving this. To give the description, because we're trying to be better about that. Beneath the still surface of a lake, lurks a monster with needle-sharp teeth. Her name is Jenny Greenteeth, and she is hungry and ready to pounce. She has never spoken to a human before, but when a witch is thrown into her lake by an angry mob, something makes Jenny decide she's worth saving instead of eating. Soon she learns that the witch's once powerful village has suddenly turned against her, and that it has something to do with the malevolent new pastor and his wicked influence on townsfolk. Though they have nothing in common, Jenny and her unlikely companion must band together on a quest to defeat an unforeseen evil that threatens the very soul of Britain. So, absolutely love it, and I am thoroughly enjoying this. I know I mentioned this again later. Okay, so just because I'm mentioning it again, I want to be able to show it again, so I'm sticking it where it belongs in the stack. Okay, so the next prompt is any least favorite book of the year. And I want to preface this by saying that it's not necessarily that I do not like the book. It's just out of the ones that I've read, I really tried not to count the DNFs that I had read, that I had started. I really tried not to count any DNFs because it's like, obviously I didn't enjoy those ones, but I wanted to focus on the books that I had read fully. And out of the books that I had read fully, again, it's not that I did not like this book. It's just, it is one, outside of my usual genre, and two, while I liked it, in comparison to all the other books that I've read, it was definitely at the bottom of the list for what I liked. So again, it's not that I didn't like it, it's just bottom of the totem pole, so it does fit this prompt best. Excuse me. That book is The Parable of the Sower by Octavia E. Butler. I do want to get the second book in the duology. I do want to get it just because, again, I do think the messaging is important. I do think it is a good book. It's just, again, it's at the bottom of the list for the books that I've read so far this year. And there might be a book that ends up lower. I think there could technically be a book that's kind of tied with this, and it would be My Sister the Serial Killer by Oyinkan Braithwaite. And so that one could technically be tied with like least favorites, but again, based on like what I usually like, I think I did enjoy My Sister the Serial Killer a little bit more because it is technically in genres that I would like, so that's why that one's a little bit above this one, even though I still didn't super enjoy My Sister the Serial Killer. But I do want to get the second book, Parable of the Talents, because like I said, I do think the messaging for this is very important. I do think it's very important to read, and I did enjoy it for what it is. It's just not my usual genre, and like I've said, it's at the bottom of the list for me for what I've read so far this year. And within the next 3 quarters of 2026, there could be a book that ends up lower than this, which I will talk about when that time comes. But something I've been trying to do, which I will talk about later, is I do really try to continue DNFing books if I'm not enjoying them, So it's why my average rating is so high on Goodreads, on the story graph. I do not use Goodreads. It's why my average rating is so high, because I really try not to continue reading a book that I'm not enjoying. So, but I did enjoy this enough to keep reading it. I did enjoy it enough to want the second book, and I did enjoy it enough to understand how important the messaging is. But it's just, like I said, it's at the bottom of the total right now. So, to give you all the description, when global climate change and economic crises lead to social chaos in the early 2020s, California becomes full of dangers, from pervasive water shortage to masses of vagabonds who will do anything to live to see another day. 15-year-old Lauren Olamina lives inside a gated community with her spiritual father, family, and neighbors, sheltered from the surrounding anarchy. In a society where any vulnerability is a risk, she suffers from hyper-empathy, a debilitating sensitivity to others' emotions. Precocious and clear-eyed, Lauren must make her voice heard in order to protect her loved ones from not the immigrants. I did not say that. I misread that. I started merging some of the words. I did not say that. Okay. Precocious and clear-eyed, Lauren must make her voice heard in order to protect her loved ones from the imminent disasters her small community stubbornly ignores. But what begins as a fight for survival soon leads to something much more: the birth of a new faith and a startling vision of human destiny. So that's what this one is about. I do highly recommend this as a read. It's just not my usual genre, not my usual thing. So, like I said, I'll say it for the last time: bottom of the total poll as well. And then the next prompt, where am I? Most or genre. And for me, that is fantasy. And I don't think that's any surprise. I'm a big fantasy girly. I love my fantasy books. For me, that is like the purest form of escapism. And it all started with Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit, the animated Hobbit, and watching like Prince of Persia, watching so many fantasy movies. Like it started off there. I'm a fantasy girly at heart. The next prompt is a book that surprised me, and for me, that would be the art. Well, it would be three in one. I'm going to show off one, but it's the Art and Shore series by Jay Penner. So, first book is a collection of Bakers and Magic. I got this one as a Christmas present for my sister, and then I went to Barnes Noble like around Christmas time with my friend, and I got the next two books like pre-ordering on it. Plus, I was like, I'm gonna go with it because I had been seeing this around, like getting like promoted, like seeing promotions and ads for it, saying like it was Ella Enchanted meets Great British Bake Off, it was Lord of the Rings meets Great British Bake Off, it was Princess Bride, it was like meets Great British Bake Off, and I was just like, okay, I do really like Great British Bake Off because the bakers. Um, I like Princess Bride, I like Ella Enchanted, I like Lord of the Rings, so this would be right up my alley, technically. So I did get the second two books purely on impulse, and I read it, and I loved it. I absolutely loved it. So, in the first book at least, in the heart of Ardenshire, where elvish enchantments and dwarven delights rule, human baker Arletta Starson works twice as hard at perfecting her unique blend of baking with apothecary herbs. So when her orc neighbor and biggest fan secretly enters her creations into the prestigious Langheim baking battle, Arletta faces a dilemma. Being magicless, her participation in the competition could draw more scowls than smiles, and if Arletta wants to prove her talent and establish her culinary reputation, she'll need more than just her pastry craft to sweeten the odds. So that's what this is about. I highly recommend this as a read. Perfect cozy fantasy, and I think it's a great start for cozy fantasy reading because it's just that right amount of magic, the right amount of low stakes, and baking, and it has recipes, and it's at the end of the book. Love it when a book has recipes. Love it when a book about cooking or baking, when the main character loves to bake either as a job or as a hobby or both. I love it when they include recipes. If cooking or baking or both is a big thing for the book. Anyway, the next prompt is a book that has come out in 2026 that I haven't read yet. And for me, I have to include this one because I kind of have to read it this year. Um, The Lighthouse at the End of the World by Philip A. Sugars. I think in some videos I was saying Philippa A. Sugars. Oopsie daisies. But I got this in a recent trip to Barnes and Noble because the bookseller was like, "Oh, I can give you half off on one of the books if you get one of this stuff here." And I was like, "Okay." And he was like, "Oh, like if you go with like if you want to keep going with fantasy, like this one's really good. It's like Steampunk meets Victoria London." And I was like, "Okay, you sold me. Let's go with it." And so in this, Oyster McClellan has spent his life causing mischief. Running with a small-time gang, he fleeces money from tourists in Hyde Park, supporting his family in place of his absent father. When when a simple money drop descends into chaos, Oyster finds himself washed up on a beach, surrounded by broken phones and shattered office furniture. His new world, Greater London, a city built on the detritus of our own, where skyscraper leviathans roam the seas, where ink beetles nest beneath the skin, and where Oyster's father may well have escaped to all those years ago. But there is more at stake than family history. Something ancient is brewing, and Oyster's allegiances are torn between the enigmatic nonsuch, the eccentric escapist Maria Petrovna, and the terrifying Mr. Primrose. And he will have to choose quickly, because his decisions will determine the fate of London's and life everywhere. So it does sound really interesting, and I've heard a lot of really good things, and I think I wanted to read this hopefully soon, hopefully this year, because I think the other night, today's Sunday when I'm recording this, and I got this Friday, and I have a video about it coming out, I think in the next couple of weeks. But I think Friday night going to Saturday night, or even last night, Saturday night, I think I had a dream about this. I don't remember what it was, but I vaguely remember having a dream about like these kids who were like pocket thieves. And it was because of this book. I'm like 90% sure I had a dream about it because of this book. So I think that's a sign. But anyway, moving on. The next prompt is goal success. One goal that one goal you made that you're succeeding at. I read it as like the prompt where I have my books mentioned section. That's where I read goal success. But the prompt is one goal that you made that you're succeeding at. And for me, that would be DNFing books. And I do say this with a little bit of pride, but also I do have a video coming out. When is it coming out? In September. Um, Basically talking about DNF culture and when, why, and why to DNF, when, why, and what to DNF. And I feel like there's a stigma around DNFing just because, especially now because of book talk, but it's okay to DNF books. And life is too short to be reading books you're not enjoying, and there's nothing wrong. It's not a defeat. It's not a failure to be like, I'm not enjoying this, so I'm going to stop reading this. So it's okay to DNF, and that is something that I've been doing a really good job at, where it's like, okay, I'm not enjoying this, so I'm going to DNF it. And I do talk about this in that video that's coming out in September, but there's a soft DNF, and then there's a hard DNF. Hard DNF. Soft DNF is one that you want to return to at a later time, where it's maybe right book, wrong time. And then hard DNF is one that you just don't plan to return to at all. So if you're having like trouble DNFing and you want to try DNFing, but you're having trouble, maybe start off by just categorizing all books as soft DNFs. Because then that might help make it a little bit easier to be like, okay, I'm DNFing for right now, but I want to return to it. And then it can turn into like later, like go through your books and be like, I never returned to this, so hard DNF. Or I still want to return to it, so it's still soft DNF. So anyway, we're going to move on to the next prompt. We're going to focus on this video. Or we're going to continue with this video, continue with these prompts. The next prompt is one goal that you need to focus on. And for me, I want to try to like, one, read more diversely, and also two, I really do want to try to read more manga, manhwa, graphic novels. I do kind of group them all together, but I want to read more because it's like I do really enjoy manga, manhwa, graphic novels. I really enjoy anime, so it's something I want to read more of. I do want to read more outside of the anime that I enjoy, because something that works for me is, which I'm not going to stop doing this, but I usually vet the manga, whatever manga I want to read. I usually vet it by watching the anime first, if there is an anime, because then that kind of helps me decide if I want to read it as a manga. Like, if I've enjoyed the anime, then I'm most likely going to enjoy the manga. So it's easier for me to like pick up a manga if I've already enjoyed the anime. And there's nothing wrong with watching the adaptation before reading the books, you guys. There's nothing wrong. And for me, with anime and manga, it's always worked out that way best. It's always worked out best for me that way. So I do want to try to read more outside of like anime that I've watched. So I think I'm going to try to do maybe like a Barnes and Noble trip or like a bookstore trip vlog where I pick up some manga and graphic novels that interest me. I read a little bit, and then whichever one it has my attention the most, I'll grab like the first couple volumes and buy them and then read them. So I think that's what I'm going to do at some point. Let me know if that's of interest. But that was my one goal that I need to focus on. And then the next prompt is the pacing. Next prompt is pacing breakdown, and this is where it starts with the prompts that I've added. So pacing breakdown, for me, I've read 12% of the books that I read have been fast paced, and then 73% have been medium paced, and then 50% have been slow paced. And so far, I think that's a pretty accurate breakdown based on what the majority of people say have input for the books. I think that is a pretty accurate breakdown of the books that I've read so far this year for the pacing. The next prompt is page number breakdown. And of course, this is for like physical books and ebooks. And for me, 9% of the books that I've read have been over 500 pages. And then 59% have been 300 to 499 pages, and 32% have been less than or equal to 300 pages. So I think, again, pretty accurate breakdown based on what I've already read. And then the next prompt is audiobook length breakdown. For me, about 17% of the books have been over 16 hours, 58% have been 8 hours to 15 hours and 59 minutes. And then 25% of the audiobooks that I've read have been less than or equal to 8 hours. So again, pretty accurate. I think it's pretty accurate for the audiobooks that I've listened to. The next prompt is fiction versus nonfiction breakdown. And again, pretty accurate. I do want to try to read more nonfiction, but I don't know if that's going to happen this year or not. But I don't know how much more nonfiction is going to happen this year. We'll have to see. But my current fiction versus nonfiction breakdown is 76% fiction and then 24% nonfiction, which is pretty good. And I think that's pretty on track with previous years, like the past couple of years. If I'd been doing this, if I'd been using Storygraph and I was reading mostly nonfiction, that it would have kind of been the reverse. But I think for the past couple of years, 25% nonfiction is pretty on track. So the next prompt is format breakdown. So 3% have been ebooks. I think it's only been like one ebook, if we're being honest, maybe two. And then 34% have been audiobooks, and then 63 have been print books. Again, pretty on track. I have been like, this has been pretty on track for the past couple years, but for whatever reason, I've been having the hardest time with ebooks lately. But I am trying to look into getting a Barnes and Noble Nook e-reader or like a Kobo, maybe. Just because I feel like that would help me. I do have the Nook app on my phone, the Barnes and Noble Nook app on my phone, just because I feel like that would help me be reading more ebooks a little bit more. And I think just like with like there is, for me at least, there's a big association with the audiobooks in Libby and Hoopla as well, which you can borrow audiobooks and ebooks from within Hoopla, but I think I've just been using so many audiobooks that the association is audiobook. And also, like, audiobooks are so much easier for me, like when I'm doing chores, when I'm like settling down for bed, when I'm getting ready in the mornings. It's just a lot easier, so that's why I've been gravitating more towards audiobooks. And again, I've just been having the hardest time like reading stories like ebooks or webtoon webcomics on my phone. So like it's this weird thing. I don't know, but it's been like this for a couple of years, so we're just rolling with it. Anyway, the next prompt is the last of the main prompts is top three authors. For me, it's J.R.R. Tolkien at 5 books, Jay Penner at 3 books, and then there's a tie for the third one between Shelley Parker Chan and Rebecca Ross, both at 2 books each. Um, I think it'll probably stay at 2 books each for both of them. There might be an author or two that outdo them that I might end up reading more of. I can't think of an author specifically who could potentially. Well, manga and graphic novels, because I do want to like do some reading vlogs about those. So any of my manga graphic novels and manga, those could potentially outdo. Um, so yeah, those are my top three authors right now, based on what I've read. And then the next prompt, this is from the bonus prompts. Last Now Next Reads. So the last book that I've read is kind of a tie between Return of the King and then My Sister the Serial Killer by Oyin Braithwaite. Braithwaite. I am saying My Sister the Serial Killer though, just because it's like I think I finished that one first before finishing it. Well, I finished Return of the King before finishing My Sister the Serial Killer, which is why I'm saying My Sister the Serial Killer. And then Now Books, the current book I'm currently reading. Um, Bloodbound, I do not want to put the dust jacket back on, but Bloodbound by Alice Hunter. And this, let's get the description for My Sister the Serial Killer. Give me one moment while I pull it up. This was a very short book as well. So, Korede is bitter. How could she not be? Her sister, Ayula, is many things. The favorite child, the beautiful one, possibly sociopathic. And now Ayula's third boyfriend in a row is dead. Korede is practically Korede is a sister's saving grace. She knows the best solutions for cleaning blood. The trunk of her car is big enough for her body, and she keeps Ayula from posting pictures of her dinner to Instagram when she should be mourning her missing boyfriend. Not that she gets any credit. Coretta has long been in love with a kind, handsome doctor at the hospital where she works. She dreams of the day when he will realize that she's exactly what he needs. But when he asks Coretta for Ayula's phone number, she must reckon with what her sister has become and how far she's willing to go to protect her. So this was a really good book, really short book. It's not 100% within my usual reads, but like it was a very good book. Um, and to give you the description for Bloodbound by Alice Hunter, this is the first book in the Cursed Covenant series. I don't know if it's going to be a series or a duology, or I don't know how many books there's going to be. But to give you all the description, Astrid has always known that she is destined to die. It's kind of awkward holding it like this, but I'm trying. Okay, she is the last. She is the last Nocturne witch and heir to the throne, and heir to the kingdom of Archeria, cursed by centuries-old covenant to duel the heir to the kingdom of Vatra for the source of all magic, the heart. And now Astrid's time is up. She is heading into enemy territory to face Prince Ziran, the most powerful dragon rider in eons, with only her familiar, her potions, and her wits to aid her. She is going to die, and any chance her queendom has of clearing the blight that's ravaging the lands and killing her people will die with her. So I'm currently about 5, 6 chapters in, and I'm really enjoying it so far. And I'm starting to feel like that feeling of like I'm in love with fantasy again feeling, which says a lot because it takes a lot. I love fantasy already, but it takes a lot to be like I'm in love with fantasy again, you know? The next prompt, and then for what's next, actually to finish, for what's next, that's kind of an unknown because I'm currently doing a reading vlog where I'm doing a roll of the dice reading vlog. So basically, I have the 2 dice right here. And basically, what happens is I choose, basically, I have the stack of books for what to read next, and then I roll the dice, and whatever the number is, I count it, and then we go from there for what my next read will be. So, right now, at least, it's unknown what I will read next. Whew. The next prompt is a spring to summer book recommendation. And for me, the one I'm going to recommend is Green Teeth by Molly O'Neill. I've already talked about this, I'm not going to rehash it. But I feel like this is a really great spring to summer read. There are some dark, so it could be good for like summer to autumn to fall. But I think this is really great for spring to summer. So just because it's had that transition of like just being out of winter and everything coming into being, so I think it's good for the spring to summer. And also winter to spring. It's good for any time of year. Green Teeth. Really like it. And then the next prompt is by the end of the year, a book I need to read by the end of the year. Um, Mattless by John Gwynne. And I'm saying this because at this point I do really like John Gwynne's writing. I loved the Bloodsport series, the Bloodsport trilogy, and I'm 90% sure I'm going to really enjoy this. And I want to start getting the next books in the series, and I've been hesitating because I want to read the first book before I commit, because I think there's like 5 books in the series. Let me see. I think it's like 4 or 5 books. I want to say 5, but let me see. Okay, Alice, John Gwynne. It's the Fallen and the Faithful series. Oh, and apparently there was like I guess a novella. Um, but there were a couple novellas, but 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so there were 4 books, and then I guess another novella. Um, 4, not including the novella stuff. So there's like a 0.1, a 0.5, and then a 4.5 books within the series. Not including those, it's 4 books. So Malice, Valor, Ruin, and Wrath. And like these books are big, and I don't want to get like 3 other big books. While I really like John Gwynne's writings, I don't want to get like 3 other big books if this is not a series I'm going to enjoy or want to keep on my bookshelf. Even though I really enjoy John Gwynne. So yeah, this is what I have to read. And to give you the description, the world is broken. Corbin wants nothing more than to be a warrior under King Renan's rule, to protect and serve. But that day will come all too soon, and the price he pays will be in blood. Evidence has sacrificed, too much it seems, but what he wants, the power to rule, will soon be in his grasp. Nothing will stop him once he has started on his path. Viragus is the newest member of the war band for the High Prince, Nether. He is one of the most skilled swordsmen to come out of his homeland, yet he is always under the shadow of his older brother. Nether has ideas and lots of plans. Many of them don't involve his father, the High King Aquilus, nor does he agree with his father's ideas to summon his fellow kings to council. The Banished Lands has a violent past where armies of men and giants clashed in battle, and now giants are new, stones weep blood, and there are signs of giant worms. Those who can still read the signs see a threat far greater than ancient wars. For if the black sun gains ascendancy, mankind's hopes and dreams will fall to dust, and it can never be made whole again. So it sounds a lot like the Bloodsworn trilogy, and I'm hoping that it's different enough in that I like it, that they're different enough because Bloodsworn trilogy came after this. I'm hoping they're different enough and that I enjoy this enough to want to get the next one books. So that's that. And then the very last prompt is a book to movie adaptation you watched recently and enjoyed. For me, that would be The Thursday Murder Club by Richard Osman. I loved the book, even though I don't remember a whole lot about the book. I watched the movie recently, loved the movie, and I do have a reaction coming to that coming in October, just because I feel like it fit best in October, and also that way too. Once October rolls around, I don't have to think of like spookyish videos to come up with. I don't have to worry about coming up with spooky related videos, and I already have like 3 videos going up in October that are spooky related, so I don't have to think about it too much right now. But the Thursday Murder Club, you're basically following 3 characters who form the Thursday Murder Club at Cooper Chase, a retirement home, basically. And then one, like the fourth member, she's currently in hospice, and then a new woman, Joyce, moves in, and they enlist her temporarily to help them solve cold cases. And all of a sudden, they have a current hot case when one of the co-owners of Cooper's Chase ends up dead. So that's what the Thursday Murder Club is about. I really enjoyed the book. I really enjoyed the movie. I need to buy a new copy of the book because I think I donated my original copy of it, which is fine. Um, but yeah, I need to get a new copy of it. So if you made it this far into the video, let me know if there's a book tag you'd like to see me do. Like, I want to expand my horizons with book tags. So if there's a book tag you want to see me do, comment down below. Or if there's a book tag that I have yet to redo, comment down below. If there's a book tag I've already done and I've yet to redo, let me know. So let me know down below in the comments what book tags you'd like to see me do. Excuse me. And with all of that said, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in my next video.